Yeah, I wanted to order a large pizza with extra shrooms. And you say what, 15-20 minutes till blast off? Ah, that's cool. I can dig that. Everybody should be here by then. Okay, see you then. Bye. Hey, fellow travelers. Next stop, the astral plane on this plastic fantastic voyage. But before we trip down the flower line path, a few episodes ago I said I was going to find out the name of the compilation, and I said that correctly, that the 20th Century Zoo had their A-side 45 on. The tune was called You Don't Remember Me. Or no, You Don't Remember. That's what it was. And it's on a thing called Psychedelic Disaster Rural. Phew, I don't know where they came up with that. So there. There you go. With much mental help, I can still remember stuff. Okay, first off this week, I discovered a band from Chicago. They were 1968, and they're called Haymarket Square. The name of the album is Magic Lantern. It's an album that was designed as a soundtrack to an art exhibit that was a light show in Chicago at a museum that was displaying everything. It's a three-piece group with a really groovy girl singer. Her name is Gloria Lambert. Nice vocals, really nice vocals. She's no Grace Slick, but that's a high bar to reach. And I mean high, baby. But she does a really good job keeping the boys in line and saving the band itself from oblivion. Oh man, some of the stuff they do. Anyway, they do some defying gravity material on this album, but it kind of falls short on the way out there scale. Side one is a great first cut, and we're going to listen to that now. It's called Elevator.
And see the sun. I guess some new day has begun. The night is over, and so's my heart. I must go out and breathe the sky. When you've been flying, it's much harder to come down. Can't make your feet walk on the ground.
So I like that cut. I think it's a good representation of what the band is capable of. This is the copy of the record. Obviously, it's a new copy. I don't know if there is even anything available in original form. It's kind of cool. It looks. It reminds. The cover art reminds me that this is what the original cover looked like, front and back. It was the original. It's called the original score for the Barron and Bailey Light Circus. So take that for what it's worth. The next thing that the boys did on that album, right after that song, is they sort of got out of control. Gloria dropped back for 2 songs. They did a really lame version of Train Kept a Rollin', which is total bad filler, and I mean bad filler. And then, of all other things, it was started out, the 3rd song was great fuzz guitar. It was just kicking everybody's butt all over the parking lot, and then the song devolves into a drum solo. Phew, babies. You know, I know that whole time, that place and time was massively inspired by Ginger Baker and his version of, well, his drum solo, Toad, from the Cream days. But, whoa, it was really pretty self-indulgent. I don't know what they were thinking. It wasn't even a good drum solo. But I have to make a confession here. My first real band, late 68, 69, we had the same thing going on. We had a drum solo that was better left forgotten. But that's the way things were then. Everybody got a piece of the action. Side 2 is much improved. Much improved. Gloria comes back and does some really great singing. I think she helps out immensely. I think she really keeps the band in order. And here's the deal. This isn't one of those records you gotta have. I bought it by reading a review of it. And that's all I did. I didn't even listen to anything that they had previously put out. Sometimes you can get snippets. Sometimes you can get the whole album on the internet. And I took a chance on this one, and luckily it wasn't very expensive. So what I say is, unless you're an absolute freak about collecting everything that's got psychedelia anywhere, on the label, on the cover, in a review, unless you've got to have everything of that genre, I'd skip this one. I'd save the money for something a little bit more important. Enough said. Up next is a band called the Baroques. They came out in, this album is from 1967. They fell to earth in Canada and then teletransported to Milwaukee. What? I think their coordinates were a bit off, because that seems like a pretty oddball place to go. Not that Milwaukee's bad. I'm not putting anybody down here. But they did become local faves there. I mean, they only released 1 record, which was a little underproduced, but I have to say it's a real winner. A really good album. The vocals are really, there's harmonies, lots of harmonies. And it's kind of quirky. That's about the best way I could describe it. They remind me of the Left Bank, that Baroque sound, without repeating their names. But it was that blending of like a harpsichord. Well, anybody knows that knows Left Bank knows what I'm talking about. And they've been out there, like Walk with Ray Renee, and I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so, but they're not so heavy in that Left Bank direction that it leads you to believe that they're exactly like them. They're not. They definitely have their own signature sound, and I like them. I like them a lot. Let's hear a track called, here it comes, The Tribute to the Oscar Mayer. It's even hard to say. The Tribute to the Oscar Mayer Wiener Wagon. Say what? Let's check it out.
down chimney, whisper and pain. If you come down to your doorway, I will meet you at the stairs, and I'll take your hand from your way to lead you there.
That's a pretty neat cut. The whole album is nice like that. I really enjoy the record a lot. I think it really works well. Here's the cover. It was released on. This is obviously a reissue. Originally, I think it was on the Chess label, if you can believe that. But this one was put out on Sundays. So if somebody has any correct information about whether it was released on Chess or not, please feel free to drop me a line at the end of the video. It's on, once again, it's colored vinyl. Woohoo, baby! Yeah. And these guys seem to be, you know, it's a pleasant tumble down the psych pop rabbit hole, you know. I mean, that's a whole nother ball of wax there too. When you're talking pop psych, but I think these guys cover the bases really well. I really do. Okay. The next Protoplasmic Twirl LP is by a band called The Misunderstood. It's a very groovy, and I mean groovy, release on the Cherry Red label. It's mostly a collection of tunes from 63 to 67. Now, if you are tuned into these guys, then you'll know that their big hit was Children of the Sun, which has got massive amounts of whammy bar and fuzz guitar, and it just goes. It really just goes. A million miles an hour, man. This thing is just, it's absolutely fantastic. These guys were from Riverside, California, and originally they were doing a surf band thing. I forget what they were called. Oh, it escapes me right now. But they had blue hair, and they had blue shoes, and they had blue guitars. Well, how much more surfy can you get than that? Except maybe driving a Woody around town and with your surfboards on top. Anyway, that's really rad, dude. So anyway, in '65, things started to change for these guys. They actually morphed some members in and out, and then they changed their name to The Misunderstood. In early '66, they did studio cuts, and that whole genre of their earlier demos, which was more of a traditional blues thing that they were playing. It was the standards, I should say, that they were playing out there. They changed this whole thing into a massive feedback freakout. They would, when they were playing, they were doing a gig at Pandora's Box in LA, and they were just wailing away, and they just got up, walked off the stage with their guitars still plugged in and feeding back to the audience, and the audience is going, whoa, you know, like, what is happening? And this is like freaking me out, you know, the whole thing is just over the top. Now 2 years later, when bands were doing stuff like that, it was no big deal, but in '66, man, this was mind-blowing. I mean, really mind-blowing. It's kind of a whirling sonic soup that these guys were doing, and I like it. I really dig it. So let's listen to a track that they did on the cuts that they put together after in '66, and this song is called "My Mind." Baby, they're taking it to somewhere else. Indeed, man, they're just gone. It just blasted me off. Like I said, by late '66 they had moved to London and really suffered the whole vibe of having no money and no gigs to speak of, and they were living hand to mouth like any hardcore band is going to try to do. But they landed a job at the Marquee Club, and Pink Floyd and The Move happened to be there that night, and mightily they were impressed, so much so that The Move actually borrowed some ideas from these cats and incorporated it into their sets. These guys just passed on the holy vibe to some other band, you know, and that's great. That's the kind of thing you want. I don't remember who their producer was, but the engineer was Roger the engineer. Now, that's how he gets credit. So I'm thinking that, and I could be wrong, maybe somebody else can help me out here. Roger the engineer might have been the cat that did the stuff for the Yardbirds. Anybody out there know? Let me know. I'm all about that. But be that as it may, everything on side one is from those sessions, and it's really far out, and totally they're at their powers. They're at their peak powers, you know. Unfortunately, the draft and bad management and a little too much LSD maybe, they called it quits. The guitarist had to go back to the United States to deal with the draft, and the other three members went over to Europe. They took the boat across the channel and tried to work on getting gigs, hoping that the guitarist could work it out with the draft. He sort of did. He came back, but by that time things were just starting to just fall apart, and that's when they just were done with it. The record is a very nice testament to what was and what might have been. So it's a total bummer that they couldn't continue on. The LP is a trippy mix, man, throughout and throughout. You dig? This is a nice addition to my collection. Side 2 is all these previous takes that they had done back in the States before they got too experimental, but it's there. They were doing blues standards, and it was, you know, it was nice. It's really nice stuff. So check it out. Maybe you want to put it in your collection. Our next Sonic Festival, I think we're going to move into garage bands, whatever that is. You know, that's a whole nother ball of wax there. It's you just know a garage band when you hear it, and I don't know any other better way to put it than that. Whether that's a bass that's got the fuzz tone to it, or I don't know, there's a tambourine in there somewhere, or maracas, you know, and they're all trying to do that R&B thing, but they're coming out in a different, they're coming out of the gate a little differently. Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. I was flashing on my many past trips in time the other day. You know, I tend to reminisce a bit for whatever reason I do. And I know a lot of people are always saying to me, man, I wish it was the 60s again. But you know, you need your own history now, people. You can make the new changes today, right now, you know. Every time I close an episode, I want to leave you with something a little bit more than just the music. I'm not preaching. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do with it. But it's just something, it's a thought bubble you want to keep around. The next time you're walking down the street, take your eyes off your phone, man. Take it off the phone and try smiling at people. It's a catchy thing, man, you know. Get your eyes off that phone and make real eye contact to someone. Eye contact and smiles lead to real human interaction. I mean, dig that concept. You know, that's what's lacking, man. Dig it. There's no human interaction anymore. We're all living in our own little bubble, and you're missing out on everything. You know, you're just missing out. You don't got to. You don't got. My English is pretty crappy. You don't have to do any more than that each day. If you just do that little bit, you're gonna break through, man. You're gonna break through the other side, and it's gonna happen. They can keep their scientific delirium madness. Just give me love, understanding, and rock and roll, baby. One thing, and before I completely walk out the door here is, and I still don't know where my pizza's at with all my shrooms, but the bumper music we're playing today, I got away from Ravi. He'll be back, but I thought I'd do something that was a soundtrack to Forbidden Planet, and I just love this stuff. This is totally whacked out. This is the Space Age. This is Sputnik music, baby. It's happening. It's really happening. We're gonna also try to do down the road a bit. We're gonna try to do a movie soundtrack episode, because there's a lot of great artists out there that have written soundtracks, and I don't mean where they plug in a bunch of bands, 45s. I mean they really write the scores. So, till the twain shall meet, this is your Captain Rick Strange, and we are all one.